Hello and welcome to part 4 of my Beyond Two Souls playthrough. Before we get started, I have a confession to make. I'm recording this voiceover separately from playing the game because when I did play through the game I accidentally had set the capture device to mute. But this might actually turn out to be a good thing because the commentary that was part of the playthrough wasn't that great to begin with. I had a nasty cough and a bit of a dry throat which plagued me throughout the entire recording, so we may actually be better off, though of course I won't be reacting to things as they happen, but rather commenting on things that have already happened, which is not how I planned it initially, but it'll probably make for a better commentary actually. So let's get into it. To start with here, it took me a few seconds to cotton on to what I was supposed to be doing. So I was just sort of playing around here as Aiden, and I thought, oh, they obviously want us to wake Jodie up, so I started messing around with things after trying to visit the next car, as you can see, without much success. Got stuck in the door there because I couldn't find my way back. That's one of the things I struggled with throughout these next series of 3 episodes, is that the game is incredibly dark on my TV in certain places, so I struggle to find my way around. Obviously Jodie is getting hacked off about being woken up, but in a minute we'll have good reason to make sure that she gets up. Yeah, there's a lot of bad language from Jodie this time around, although you can't really blame her from the stuff that happens in these episodes. I'll start trying to mess with the other passengers here. I thought this would probably give this guy a heart attack, but he just feels a bit cold. This reminds me of my morning commute, actually. I'm usually asleep like these guys. And then the police are lying in wait for the train, and some officers are about to get on and begin the search for Jodie. This section, which will be episode 4, will be quite a long one actually, because I decided it makes sense to keep entire episodes together rather than just where the recorder naturally splits up the files, because the way my Harpog PVR rocket works is once it gets to 1.95 gigabytes of space, it stops and then starts a new file, which is a pain in some respects, but is good in others, because I wouldn't want a huge 20 gig file to try and deal with. So it is better actually to have these relatively smaller 2-ish gig files to deal with. So there's a couple of things in this episode that had me wondering if I'd done them differently. Would the chapter have played out any differently? I don't think that it would have, really, because I think it's all leading to the same place story-wise, but one of them's coming up soon where I could have jumped through a window, but I messed up the QTE, and so that it failed that, and I ended up climbing on the top of the roof of the train later on. I have a feeling, like I said, that if I climbed out the window, I would have just ended up on the roof of the train like I was going to anyway, so I doubt it would have made much difference. So I'm just going to have a sip of water here. Luckily I don't usually have this sort of activity to deal with on my morning commute. This is the window in question. I believe we smash it, but yeah, Aiden smashes it. But then I completely fail to capitalise on that. And that my controller has kindly told me that I'm about to run out of juice in my battery. Although I found whenever it does that, I've got at least an hour left of playtime. Of course, depending on how intensive the game in question is that I'm playing. I've recently rediscovered my Blu-ray remote that I bought for watching films, so I don't use the controller for movies now, so it means it doesn't waste the battery quite as fast. But still, yeah, I find the battery life in PS3 controllers does last quite a long time, to be fair, but in some ways I wish they'd stuck to normal AA batteries like they have on the 360. Of course, I've recently discovered Eneloop batteries thanks to Giant Bomb, and they are as fantastic as they say, actually. They'll save a small fortune in batteries because they come ready charged for one thing, and then they last absolutely ages between charges and hold their charge even if they're just sat there for a long time. So I'd recommend anyone who's got gaming controllers or anything like that that uses fairly high amounts of battery power to buy some of them. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Let's get back to talking about the game, shall we? I do fumble a few of these QTEs, but the game does seem quite lenient in its fail states, in that I haven't actually found one yet. No doubt if you cock up a whole load of these QTEs in a row, you would eventually fail, but I believe these games are set up in a way that the story just changes itself based on you failing rather than you having to do it again, which was one of the nice things about Heavy Rain. I only played through Heavy Rain the one time, and I may do the same thing with this. This is a new power that's just introduced. You can create this shield with Aiden that is useful for preventing Jodie from getting hurt in several places. There's here, and then there's a bit a little bit further on. What follows now is quite a bit of running around in the woods, which I really didn't enjoy. I thought the graphics were far too dark here. Couldn't work out for the life of me where to go, although that might be what they had in mind, because you can sort of find your way through just sort of by stumbling around in the dark. But apologies if it's not very gripping to watch. Although there is quite a nice punch up with some dogs not far from now. This was, as I said, quite frustrating to play through this early part of this forest. Because she doesn't have a jump button, so In any other game, you just sort of hop up on that rock and carry on. But no, that's a barrier in this game. So I had to backtrack and find another way through. It might be another minute or two before they set the dogs on me. We'll see. Well, here comes the helicopter, so the dogs can't be too far behind. Again, I messed up a few times on the QTEs sliding down this hill because it's really hard to make them out in this dark environment. Another one I messed up. It usually gives you long enough in slow-mo to see what you're doing. Oh, there we go. But, of course, I was trying to commentate at the same time, so I wasn't giving it my full concentration. Well, that's my excuse anyway. Just like in Heavy Rain, of course, they used the controller in interesting ways, depending on your situation. So here you're clicking on L1 and R1 alternately to wade through the river, and then hop up onto the bank on the other side. So more running through the forest. It sounds like the dogs aren't very far away now. So it's a bit. I thought it was a bit cruel to be smacking dogs in the face with a branch. Here we go. This is it. But of course, she needs to do what she has to do to survive. So I'm sure if I was in the same situation, I would have to resort to similar means. But it's still quite hard to watch for those who like animals. Oh, poor doggy. Bit of old-fashioned controller waggling. Can never go wrong with that, can you? Quantic Dream is one of the very few companies that actually made any sensible use out of the 6-axis motion controls built into the PS3 controller. I have come across very few games rather that have actually tried anything with that. Heavenly Sword is another one where you can control the flight of arrows by tilting, but that doesn't work that well, if you ask me. And I believe that dragon game, is it Lair, that was truly awful, made use of tilt controls as well. But I was put off ever trying that game from all the dreadful press that it received. So now we're going to climb up this slippery rock face. L1 and R1 again. But in a minute we're going to get caught anyway. which is the other bit where I was wondering if I hadn't messed up on the upcoming fight, would I have got away, or would I have ended up in the police car anyway? So I may well have to watch someone else's playthrough after I've finished to sort of compare notes and see if things went differently for them. I thought we were moving at this stage, but it turns out that the police car's just sat there. She's about to choke this guy out. I'm not sure if he's going to be dead or just passed out. Hopefully she hasn't actually killed him, or she is definitely in trouble. So it feels like I've got a bit of a cold coming on today, although that could just be the sort of worry of going back to work tomorrow, which is making me feel ill. But it's definitely means I'm a bit bunged up, and I'm coughing more than normal. So she's dealt with the cop, and we're on our way out of here. A little bit of distraction gameplay here. Flip the car over, and then they flip their shit, and we steal the motorbike. And then there's now a little interlude where I'm actually driving the bike. I didn't realise I had to accelerate to start with, because you get used to sort of having everything be a series of QTEs in this style of game. But no, this is actually me driving for reals on this bike. When the helicopter catches up with me in a minute, it gets a bit trickier because it uses a very panned out view. Here we go. So you're still in full control of everything, but you're being chased by a helicopter. And coming up at the other end is another big standoff with the cops, which probably runs on for longer than it needed to, because I didn't entirely figure out what I was supposed to be doing. For a while I've been thinking that orange glowy people instead of blue are sort of extra tough or hostile, but no, that's actually denoting ones that you can possess and then use to do things. So I actually figured that out in a moment. Here's where we use the shield power again to get through these cops without getting shot to pieces. arrive at Bakertown for the final standoff of this particular chapter. It's a lengthy chapter. All three of these next three have got significantly longer compared to the previous videos. She's definitely getting pretty bashed up this time around. So there now follows quite a bit of car flipping and general jiggery pokery with Aiden. I believe some of this was part of the original trailer when they revealed the game. Off we go. I was trying to squash some police with the flipping cars, but it didn't really work. It fared better here. Yeah, they got knocked over. But it doesn't really stop them from moving in eventually. This is where I figure out the possession mechanic to take control of this armoured car. Still struggling a bit with the control of Aiden flying around. There we go. And get to drive as the drive straight into a building. Would have been more useful if we'd taken some of the cops out. There's another one we can possess. And a nice bit of shooting here. Gonna shoot his own men and then get shot himself. Don't know why I decided to blow up the fire hydrant there, but oh well. Jodie's starting to panic now, as was I at the time, because I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. Another driver. Not sure what the guys in bright red are. They're probably the ones that you can't do anything with. Eventually they're going to call in a chopper, which I can take over. I think we've still got a few more minutes before that happens though. Oh yeah, I didn't realise that she was supposed to be... I was supposed to be letting her in, so... Here's where... Yeah, I let her into the cinema. And then I thought we were supposed to be going inside, so I faff around in there for a minute. Although we're supposed to be back outside, it turns out. And then I get lost. There's the door. And the helicopter's turned up. So it takes a while for me to cotton on to the idea of using the helicopter. But I'll figure it out eventually, as is usually the case. No, no, Go back to the helicopter. You'd think they'd be storming all over the place by now, but they're still just sort of hanging around. So, I think we actually had longer than the game was kind of hinting at. Seems like it'd be very hard to actually fail these chapters. Now I'm supposed to circle the stick to get the helicopter to crash, which I do work out there. I think we're coming to the end of the chapter, so hopefully this dubbed over commentary will come out okay. It's always a bit quieter using the PC for some reason. So I've got 2 more of these chapters that haven't had any dialogue recorded at the time of gameplay, so I've got to do this twice more, but of course this will take all evening, most of the night to upload anyway, so I won't worry about recording the other dialogue till tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of this part.